know that prayer is not very common in our world today, especially in American culture. People struggle to pray. Many times my students ask me, "How do you pray?" They seem perplexed when I sit and pray quietly and open myself to the message of God in my life. So I wanted to share with you today in particular a short form of how to pray using the word pray. The first technique is the power of silence. So often in our world today, we are filled with notifications from our phone, emails popping up that we have to respond to, the news on the TV, on the internet, on the radio, all of the advertisements we see surrounding us. We live in a noisy world. In Habakkuk, the prophet tells us, "The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth be silent before him." There is a power in that silence. When Prophet Elijah goes and hides himself in a cave, he's overwhelmed with fear and anxiety, not sure where to go or what to do. He feels that he is alone in the world. I know so often today, so many young people especially, struggle with that anxiety. You feel overwhelmed by all of the obligations you have to meet, the pressure to succeed academically and later in your careers. So it feels as if you are all alone, with no answers to be found. So Prophet Elijah withdraws from all of those worries, and he asks God for an answer. Many noisy events come to him: an earthquake, the sound of the wind, the rushing of the rain and the lightning and the fire, so many loud noises. Yet God is not in any of these noises. Rather, God comes to Prophet Elijah in a small, tiny whisper of sound. God speaks in the silence of our hearts. So the first step in entering into prayer is to be silent. Enjoy the power of silence. Turn off the cell phone, go away from the TV and the computer, and find a place where you can be alone in the silence and listen to the presence of God. The second step is to read the Word of God. I know that might seem like a challenge. Maybe you haven't opened a Bible in quite some time. But it doesn't need to be a long passage. It can be just the readings of the day. You can find them online very easily. Just type into Google, "readings of the day," and it'll come up for you. Take the gospel for that day's Mass and read that. And just take even one sentence, one verse that speaks to you. God has a message for you in every one of his words. So take that word and reflect on it. Once you enter the silence, let the power of that Word of God fill your heart. Offer your life to God using that Word, surrendering your worries and anxieties, all of your fears and tensions, and God will speak to you through his Word, because that Word has a power of its own, because it is not simply words on a page, but the Word incarnate, our own Lord taking flesh and speaking to us. The next stage I would recommend as you develop in your prayer life begins with the letter A, to absorb nature. There is a power in the natural world that we often miss because of our technology. I was recently traveling to one of the most beautiful botanical gardens I had ever been to, and there were so many incredible things to see. And we passed by a group of tourists, and everyone was sitting down on their cell phone, watching videos or sending messages, and not seeing the beauty of the nature around them. So when you feel overwhelmed by the world, when you're struggling to find that silence, it can help to go out, to experience nature, find a beautiful tree, find a beautiful flower, and reflect on that beauty of nature. And as nature is a creation of God, it will speak to you in your heart as well, and help you to open yourself to God. The final step in beginning to pray begins with why. Yearn to pray. There are many resources out there that will give you methods and techniques and strategies for prayer. But none of them can give you a desire to pray, that yearning in your heart to draw close to God. If you cultivate that desire to pray, to reach out to God, even if you're not sure how to do it, God will help you. Because we know if you draw near to God, He will draw near to you and speak in the silence of your heart. So if you are wondering how to pray in our modern world today, I suggest these simple steps. Activate the power of silence in your life. Read the Word of God, even if only for a moment. Absorb nature and the beauty of creation, and yearn to pray. Look for God, and you'll find Him, even when He seems so far away from you.